When God is about to reveal your soulmate, he doesn't begin by changing your circumstances. He begins by changing you. He starts with your heart, your habits, and your healing. Because a divine relationship isn't built on desperation or dependency. It's built on preparation. You see, God isn't just matching two people who are lonely. He's aligning two souls who are ready, emotionally, spiritually, and purposefully. That preparation phase is often uncomfortable. It can feel like isolation. You might wonder why you're alone while everyone else seems to be finding love. But what you don't see is that this season is sacred. It's where God clears away the noise so you can finally hear his voice. It's where he begins to rebuild you from the inside out, not so you can become perfect, but so you can become whole. Because if you enter a divine relationship while broken, you'll expect someone else to fix what only God can heal. Think about it. When you're still carrying emotional baggage from your past, when you're still defining your worth through someone else's validation, when you still confuse attention for love, you're not ready to recognize the person God is sending. Preparation is what trains your spirit to discern between something that looks good and something that's God sent. The people who came before weren't mistakes, they were mirrors. They showed you what you needed to heal, what you needed to release, and who you needed to become. And this is where most people miss the message. They think God is delaying them, when in truth, he's developing them. He's not keeping love from you. He's keeping the wrong kind of love from breaking you. Because divine timing always follows divine transformation. God will never send your soulmate to the version of you that still needs validation to feel valuable. He'll wait until you've learned to find peace in his presence, not in another person's attention. When you reach that place of wholeness, something inside of you shifts. You stop chasing, you stop settling. You start valuing your energy and protecting your peace. The same things that once tempted you no longer move you. That's not you becoming cold. That's you becoming aligned. You begin to understand that love isn't about filling emptiness, it's about expanding abundance. From a psychological perspective, this is powerful. Because when you operate from wholeness, your energy changes. You attract differently. You see differently. You no longer confuse intensity for intimacy or drama for depth. You can finally distinguish between chemistry and compatibility, because one excites you but the other sustains you. That's the mark of someone who's been prepared. They no longer seek completion in another human being. They seek partnership and purpose. And when you reach that level of awareness, the waiting stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling like alignment. You start to realize that God isn't late, he's intentional. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour, it all becomes evidence that he's been preparing you for something more meaningful than you ever imagined. Because what he's bringing into your life isn't just a partner. It's purpose wrapped in human form. So if you're in that season right now, where nothing seems to be moving, where it feels like you've outgrown everyone around you, don't lose heart. That's not loneliness, that's divine isolation. That's God setting the stage for your next chapter. He's clearing the room so the right soul can enter. He's shaping you to recognize what you prayed for. And when that person finally arrives, you'll know. Not because of butterflies, but because of peace. Because this time, you'll meet them as the person you were always meant to become, whole, grounded, and ready. When you're on the verge of meeting the person God intended for you, life often begins to look like it's falling apart. The relationships that once made sense start to dissolve. The people you thought would always be there begin to drift away. Doors that once swung open with ease suddenly close. And it's in that confusion, that tension between what you thought you wanted and what you're being led toward, that divine redirection takes place. You see, God doesn't bring your soulmate into a crowded room. He clears it first. He removes the distractions, the counterfeit connections, and even the relationships that feel comfortable but no longer serve your purpose. Because you can't receive divine alignment while you're still holding on to what was only meant to be temporary. Every ending, every rejection, every sudden turn that doesn't make sense. Those are not coincidences. Those are corrections. We tend to think that when something ends, it's a sign of failure. But what if it's actually a sign of favor? What if the heartbreak wasn't God punishing you but preparing you? Think about it. How many times have you prayed for clarity and then watched situations start to fall apart? That's how clarity comes. God doesn't always whisper answers. Sometimes he removes distractions. Sometimes he'll close a door so loudly that you can't ignore it. From a psychological standpoint, this process makes sense. The human brain is wired for comfort. It resists change even when that change is good for us. We cling to the familiar because it feels safe, even when it's suffocating us. But divine redirection pulls you out of the comfort zone. It forces you to confront what you've been tolerating. It teaches you to stop chasing potential and start honoring purpose. God knows that if he doesn't shake your foundation, you'll stay standing in the wrong place. And here's the deeper truth. The right person can't find you when you're still tied to the wrong patterns. God has to break those ties before he brings divine connection. You might not see it now, but that breakup, that silence, that season of waiting, it's not wasted time. It's sacred transition. It's God pruning you so that what's meant for you can finally grow. There's a reason confusion often comes before clarity. When God starts rearranging your life, it can feel chaotic. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder if you made a mistake walking away. But if you listen closely, beneath the noise, there's always peace. Peace doesn't mean the absence of uncertainty. It means trusting that uncertainty has a purpose. And that purpose is alignment. When redirection begins, it often exposes what's been out of sync. People who were once comfortable around your old energy will feel distant from your new one. You'll start to crave solitude instead of validation. You'll begin to see how much energy you wasted trying to force things that were never meant to fit. That's divine awareness unfolding. God is preparing you to recognize what truly resonates with your spirit, not just your emotions. And when your spirit becomes that clear, the wrong connections can no longer survive around you. They start to fall away naturally, not because you're rejecting them, but because you're evolving beyond them. You begin to see that divine timing is not just about when you meet your soulmate. It's about who you are when they arrive. So if you're in a season where everything seems uncertain, don't panic, pay attention. That's not chaos, that's choreography. God is shifting the pieces so that when your soulmate appears, you'll be standing exactly where you're supposed to be, centered, grounded, and aligned. When the right person enters your life, the one God has prepared for you, the first thing you'll notice isn't fireworks, it's peace. Real grounded, steady peace. Not the kind that fades when they don't text you back, not the kind that depends on constant reassurance, but the kind that calms your spirit the moment they walk into your life. Because divine connections don't create confusion, they bring clarity. You see, most of us are conditioned to associate love with intensity. We chase the thrill, the adrenaline, the butterflies. But butterflies are a symptom of anxiety, not alignment. They come when your nervous system is uncertain, when it senses both desire and danger at the same time. What God wants for you isn't a relationship that makes you anxious. It's one that makes you anchored. When something is meant for you, it doesn't demand that you shrink yourself to fit. It doesn't manipulate your emotions or leave you second guessing your worth. It's consistent, it's patient, it feels like coming home after a long journey. Because when God orchestrates a connection, it resonates on a spiritual frequency, not just an emotional one. It doesn't just meet your desires, it aligns with your destiny. Psychologically, this piece is the absence of internal conflict. When your subconscious knows you're safe, you stop performing, you stop pretending. You stop trying to earn love and start allowing it. The right person doesn't trigger your insecurities. They help you confront them. They don't fix you. They stand beside you while you grow. And because of that, you'll feel a different kind of freedom, the freedom to be seen as you are. This is where most people get tripped up. They mistake boredom for peace. They've been conditioned by chaos, taught that love should be dramatic, unpredictable, something that keeps you guessing. But when God steps in, he teaches you the difference between excitement and alignment. The wrong person makes you feel addicted. The right one makes you feel at ease. The wrong one drains your energy. The right one expands it. From a spiritual perspective, peace is God's confirmation. It's his whisper saying, this is safe. This is right. You won't need to ask 10 people for their opinions. You won't need to decode mixed signals. Your spirit will simply know. Because when something is divinely aligned, it flows. Not effortlessly, but naturally. There's a mutual willingness, a shared commitment, a balance between effort and ease. And you'll know it's different because this connection won't distract you from your purpose. It will amplify it. You'll find yourself becoming more disciplined, more focused, more inspired. Divine love doesn't pull you away from God. It draws you closer. It doesn't compete with your calling. It supports it. That's how you know you're not just in love, you're in alignment. There's a deep philosophical truth in this love. In its highest form is order, it's harmony. It's two souls vibrating at the same frequency of growth and peace. When God sends the right person, it's not chaos disguised as passion. It's purpose wrapped in peace. And that peace, that quiet certainty, is your sign. It's what separates divine timing from human timing. Because when something is right, you don't have to force it to stay. You just have to nurture it, protect it, and let it unfold at God's pace. So if you've ever wondered how you'll know when it's real, don't look for sparks. Look for stillness. Don't measure how fast your heart beats. Measure how calm your soul feels. When God finally reveals your soulmate, something extraordinary begins to happen, not just between you and that person, but within you. Suddenly life starts to expand. Your vision grows, your energy multiplies. It's not that this person completes you. It's that together, you unlock new levels of clarity, courage, and purpose. Because divine love isn't meant to make you smaller, it's meant to make you more. A relationship that's aligned with God's plan doesn't just feel good. It does good. It moves both of you toward growth. It fuels your mission, sharpens your faith, and elevates your standard for what love is supposed to be. You stop operating from fear. Fear of being abandoned, misunderstood, or not enough, and start operating from overflow. That's the power of a divine connection. It becomes a force of multiplication. Psychologically, this makes perfect sense. When two people are grounded in self-awareness and spiritual alignment, they create what researchers call co-regulation. It's when two nervous systems begin to operate in harmony, reducing stress and increasing emotional resilience. You're not just in love, you're in sync. The relationship itself becomes a catalyst for healing, growth, and expansion. It's no longer about me or you. It's about us becoming something greater together. You begin to notice how your faith deepens through the partnership. The conversations you have aren't about superficial things anymore. They're about purpose, calling, and legacy. You challenge each other to grow, not through pressure, but through inspiration. And that's what differentiates a soulmate from anyone else. They don't pull you away from God, they pull you closer. They don't compete with your purpose, they ignite it. When love is divine, it carries a sacred order. There's balance between intimacy and independence, between giving and receiving. You both understand that your love isn't ownership, it's stewardship. You're not trying to control one another, you're protecting the connection God entrusted you with. And that kind of love becomes magnetic, not just to you, but to everyone who witnesses it. People can feel when something is authentic. They can sense when two people are walking in unity rather than attachment. But here's the deeper truth. Before you ever meet that person, God has already written the purpose that the two of you will fulfill together. Every experience, every heartbreak, every lesson was shaping you for that divine mission. So when your paths finally cross, there's recognition, not just emotional, but spiritual. It's like your souls remember something your minds can't explain. And from that point on, everything starts to align, not without challenges, but with a sense of divine guidance behind every step. When two people walk in alignment with God's will, their relationship becomes more than love. It becomes a ministry. It teaches others what faith in action looks like. It shows the world that love and purpose aren't separate forces. They're deeply connected. And that's when you realize that finding your soulmate was never the ultimate goal. It was the next step in fulfilling your greater purpose. So if you're waiting for that kind of connection, don't just pray for a partner. Pray to become the kind of person who can handle that level of divine responsibility. Because when it arrives, it won't just change your relationship status. It will change your life.